What's going on? Thought I'd give you a bit of an update on what's going on with the bike. Just got home last night. All my stuff's in the mail, which is good. So it already had a Pro X piston in it, so I've just gone with that again, as I've got a huge amount of hours out of that top end. So before ordering it, I measured the cylinder just to sort of get a base measurement, just so I knew exactly what I was ordering, because I've found some of the kits that you can get, they don't actually specify what size pistons are going in it, and it's, you know, in my mind it's sort of a bit of insurance if you have the right size one going back in. So pretty much all I'm going to do now is clean up the cylinder and majority of these parts, measure my ring gap, make sure that's all good, and hopefully get this thing back together today. That there's the old piston that was in it, so it's just got a little bit of scuffing there. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's left a little mark on the cylinder, but I can't get my fingernail in it on the cylinder, but I can get a little bit here, but I'm hoping the cylinder should be alright. It's all the cross hatching is still there. It's looking pretty neat and tidy for the age bike that it is, so fingers crossed. Probably another little bonus as well is I had planned on putting the V-Force reed cage in it, but getting this thing apart, I'm pretty sure it's got the Boyson kit in it, so it's sort of just a bit of an upgrade from standard. I've had a bit of a look at it, they look fine. I think we should be good to go with those ones and get this thing running again, eh? I've just got one ring sitting in there in the top, and I've got another one just sitting in there in the bottom, just so basically I can check the ring gap at the top and bottom, and I'll probably push one of these into the middle there and just double check that we're all good. But all I've done is just sat the ring in there, and then I'm just using the old piston and just use that, and I'm just running my finger on that gap all the way around there just to make sure it's sitting in there square. A little bit high there, but we're all good. And then basically I'm just measuring that gap there, which according to the manual should be between 0.4 and 0.5. So I've pretty much, that's 0.4 there, it's a little bit loose, whereas if I put the 0.5 in, I can just feel it grabbing there. So we're pretty well within the spec according to Yamaha. And then we'll just do the same on the bottom here as well. So the other thing with these rings as well, if you're unfamiliar with it, probably won't focus, but they'll have a marking on them which indicates the top, so the ring has to be facing up. The other thing to bear in mind as well, this isn't one, but if you have a 4-stroke, sometimes I'll have like a top ring and a bottom ring. Just make sure you get them the right way around. This one doesn't, it just doesn't matter which way you put these in, just as long as they're pointing towards the top, like with the marking on it. So the other thing I did do as well is that was the top end bearing, which I had no play in it, but I just thought, you know, they're relatively cheap, and if it fails it's going to cause a lot of damage, so I have ordered a new one. I've got a new one, it's just a YZ250 brand, so they do pretty good stuff, so I thought I'd just roll with that. So yeah, basically just for this small end bearing, all I'm going to do is just use like a bit of 2-stroke oil. I run Model 800, so all I'm going to do, I've just got a little bit in the cap, just going to dip my finger in it, just smear a bit on through the bearing, make sure it actually sort of like gets in. So I'll just do like a bit on the inside, a bit on the outside. It makes a bit of a mess, but that's pretty much it. So just say it's just got a little bit of lube in there for when you first start it up. So basically just gonna slot him in there. I just cleaned that hole out before. I've cleaned this face up, so that's sort of all ready to go. I'm gonna leave that rag in there while I put the piston in. Just in case I drop one of those circlips, the last thing you want is that going into the bottom end. Otherwise, yeah, your day's just got bad, really. So that'll be the next. So one thing I will do is I'll just fit one circlip in one side of the piston before I put it in, just to make life a bit easier. So these can be a bit of an annoying thing to get in, but just sort of got to try and work it in. So I've sort of got that just sat in, and then I'm just going to get the old, that's just the old gudgeon pin, so I can just use that just to try and help push it in a little bit. Just sort of squared it up and then just use my fingernails and just push it in. Should clip in nicely. Might just spin that a little bit, get that clean. So I'm just going to torque the cylinder down. Basically, you've got your back two bolts you can actually get like a proper torque wrench onto, which is what we've got here. These ones I can't, so I'm kind of just going to tighten up the back line, see how tight that kind of feels, and then just do the front as best as I can. So according to the book, it's 40 Newton meters or 42 Newton meters, so I'll just get that at the back. And I've already sort of put a spanner on all of these anyway, just to pretty much get them set, and I've lost it. There it is. I'm just sort of like feeling the torque on those ones and just trying to match it on these front ones. That should do it. So next thing I'm going to do is put this reed cage back in, just so I can't drop anything down that hole. It's a bit easier to cover up the small hole than the big hole. So you just sort of juggle, line up all this stuff here. Just get one bolt in. I gave all this a good check over before I put it back in, so I think we shouldn't have a drama with any of that stuff. The bike ran fine, so I'm pretty confident it wasn't like drawing air or anything like that through any of these sections. This has actually got like the little reed spacer in it as well. I don't know, that's like a standard thing with the Boyson ones. I've sort of just read a few things online about that. So I just had a quick read through the manual, and it's saying for the new O-rings, which are these ones here, just to use like a lithium based grease. So basically this Maxima waterproof stuff is a lithium base according to the rubbish on the back. So I'm just going to use that. I'm just going to put a really light layer of grease on it just to keep the O-rings lubed, and they will just sit in the grooves there if you're unfamiliar with it. And then I can bolt the head back on, and I'll probably try and get the carby back on and all the hoses, and I'll just fill this thing with coolant now before I actually put everything back on and then fill it, just so I can check and just make sure that it's not leaking anywhere, because there's nothing worse than getting it all back together and you've left something off or left something loose and you got coolant going everywhere. Got pretty much everything buttoned up. However, I've got no clean air filters, so I've just gone and washed them quickly, and hopefully I'll just sort of get it all prepped up, ready to go, and get it started in probably the next hour or so. Cool. New O-rings and new springs for the exhaust. Already had them kicking around, so I didn't really need to order them. It's full of coolant, can't see any leaks. I sort of turn it over by hand a little bit as well. Yeah, pretty much that's it. I'm just waiting for my air cleaners to dry. I had none left. They're all dirty, so as soon as I can get one of those dry, get the Kickstarter back on, seat back on, plastics back on, and I'll kick her in the guts, and hopefully all goes well. I just had it outside, kicked it over, got it going. Fire it up now. That's it.